All right, let's jump right into it, guys. The 10 big wide receiver questions heading into 2024. Matthew, everybody's kind of watching the preseason, getting the highs off of every quarterback performance that seems to be spectacular. The Vikings are one of the more interesting ones. Sam Darnold looked good. J.J. McCarthy, after a rough start, looked really, really good. Is Justin Jefferson quarterback proof in this scenario? I mean, this is somebody that we've seen absolutely shine with Kirk Cousins, but can that carry over as they have a little bit of a downgrade with the younger quarterback duo?
He was good with Nick Mullins, too. I think Justin Jefferson, it's insane to say what I'm about to say, but I believe Justin Jefferson is being underdrafted. I'm at wide receiver 4. I think he should be going in the top 5 of drafts. I literally was just on the radio doing a hit before I joined here, and
whoa, lucky guy.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not the only one. Listen, Connor and Jay, you guys are on 8 billion different podcasts. God forbid you ever focus on this one. So yeah, I just did a radio hit to promote our show. You know what I mean? But anyway, and we were talking about the fact that Jefferson sometimes goes 7th or 8th overall in some drafts, which is just insane. Last year, 8 healthy games, a 31% target share. And now KJ Osborne isn't there. TJ Hawkinson's going to miss the first half of the season. I think my argument would be that whatever inefficiencies there are at quarterback, that will be made up for in massive, massive target share. And oh, by the way, he's insanely talented. He's one of the most talented, if not the most talented wide receiver in the NFL. And I don't think that, I think whether it is Sam Darnold or J.J. McCarthy, that they will be competent enough as a quarterback to get the ball to Justin Jefferson. Again, 4 games without Kirk Cousins last year, he averaged over 22 fantasy points per game. For his career, he averages over 98 yards a game. It's just, all the numbers are insane, and he's competing with, other than Jordan Addison, he's competing with Jalen Naylor for what? What are you doing? People, and obviously it's a different situation, but we were in the same situation last year with Mike Evans, where people are Baker Mayfield. I don't know. I don't want Mike Evans. He's 30. He's playing with Baker. I'm out on Mike Evans. And then monster season from Mike Evans. And Baker Mayfield was obviously a lot better than anyone expected him to be. But so I'm a believer in. I actually thought J.J. McCarthy looked really good in the preseason game. And I think, Connor, I don't know how you feel about him as a prospect, but I think that the Vikings would be well suited just to get J.J. McCarthy in there as soon as possible. But yes, as it relates to Justin Jefferson, if I'm in a draft where he's the number 1 wide receiver taken, I'm not going, what were you doing? When you think about Tyreek Hill's age, when you think about CeeDee Lamb's contract situation, you can make an argument. Jamar Chase also had a bad injury last year. You can make an argument that Justin Jefferson should be the number 1 wide receiver, a guy that was the consensus number 1 last year.
Jay, what do you think?
I would take Justin Jefferson first overall in fantasy. And I understand that, fantasy now in ADP, it's a relatively efficient market. And most of the edges to be found are somewhat marginal, a guy should go wide receiver 14 when he's going wide receiver 18 or whatever. But with Jefferson, I just don't understand why he's not considered as wide receiver 1 when you look at his past 3 years. Here is where he's ranked in terms of receiving yards per game. 2nd, 1st, and 3rd. And then his rookie year, he was 6th. He is right now, he's 10-1 to win the receiving title. That means the market thinks he's a 9% chance. I'm telling you, there is more than a 9% chance that Justin Jefferson has the most receiving yards in the NFL. And I just think that some of the ancillary factors, like the fact that, it's going to be Darnold or McCarthy and they're a step down from Kirk Cousins. Well, here's the thing is that they're going to be in a throw script, I think, a lot of the time because they're projected to be, last in the division, a 7-win type of team. They play in a dome, which really helps relative to Jamar Chase. Also, Jefferson is 25 years old. Tyreek Hill's on the other side of 30 and gets hurt at the end of every season. So I just think that you weigh everything up. And even if you're debating, look, Christian McCaffrey is going to go number 1 in the bulk of drafts, clearly. But Like McCaffrey's getting older and he's dealing with already soft tissue strains and an older team and a suspect offensive line. Like I just think that Jefferson has such an insanely high floor, and we have proof of how he did without Kirk Cousins. He was 22 points per game in 4 full games without Cousins, and there was like some Jaron Hall mixed into that. Like they're going to get better performances at quarterback this year than Jaron Hall and Nick Mullins.
I'm with you guys. And also, he has a great play caller that has to matter so much here that I think right now I would give Darnold the nod, and Darnold is going to start the season. I think they want to be really careful with how they throw McCarthy into the fire, as impressive as some of the throws he made were in his preseason debut, especially after he got that interception out of his system. He made some really, really nice throws, but I think this system is kind of tailor-made for Darnold to get another shot. Not saying he's going to have that Baker Mayfield season, but I think the quarterback play will be fine. And I think if you're drafting Justin Jefferson, that's all you really need, because as you guys alluded to, he's just too damn talented. And every few seasons, guys, we get a rookie wide receiver that is drafted over superstar household names just because of maybe the situation and obviously the talent. Marvin Harrison Jr. is falling into that bucket right away here, Matthew. What are the rookie expectations for a guy that I believe is in your top 10 wide receiver rankings right now?
Yeah, he's my wide receiver 10. I mean, the fact of the matter is that I think the expectations here, and I'll give you, my guy, Dwayne McFarland, fantasylife.com, who does all the projections. He's unbelievable. He does a really great job. This is what Dwayne projects: 133 targets, 86 receptions, about 1,079 receiving yards, over 6 touchdowns as well. My friend Mike Clay over at ESPN, he does a great job. He projections around the same: 129 targets, 83 receptions, 1,100 receiving yards, 6 touchdowns. So we're expecting, those are 2 guys who I think do a really good job with projections, and they're both projecting a little over 1,000 yards, over 80 receptions, about 6 touchdowns. I think that's right, but I think there's the chance that he elevates even more. Since 2010, producer Damien found this stat. Get this. Since 2010, 5 of the 6 wide receivers that are drafted inside the top 5 saw at least 115 targets in their rookie season. So, and that's certainly obviously what we're projecting, or what Dwayne is projecting as well, right? Over 130 targets for him as well. You think about who he's competing with for targets. We like Trey McBride quite a bit. I think people are sleeping on Greg Dortch, the human Dortch. And we had some nice moments from Michael Wilson, but make no mistake, Connor, and you can speak to this better than I can. Marvin Harrison, the sense that I get is that Marvin Harrison is to wide receivers what Trevor Lawrence or Andrew Luck were to quarterbacks, to what Saquon Barkley was to running backs, in terms of can't miss prospect. This is, as good a ready-made for the NFL prospect coming out of college as there has been in the last, handful of years.
Absolutely. The 2 best receivers I've ever evaluated have been Jamar Chase, who his rookie season, 81 catches, 1,455 yards, 13 touchdowns, which is ironically the best of his career so far. Maybe that bar is a little too high. And Marvin Harrison Jr. I mean, that's how special we're talking about here, Jay, in an offense that we like the quarterback in Kyler Murray. The offensive line is trending in the right direction. And this is a team that doesn't have enough skill talent yet. That is a hurdle for a rookie wide receiver to get over. So if you were creating a tailor-made situation in all of this, Jay, for a rookie to have monster numbers right away at the wide receiver position, similar to what Chase did, and once again, I think that bar is a little too high, Marvin Harrison Jr., it's all there.
And I'll ask Jay this real quick. Before you answer, Jay, I just want to ask you a quick question, too. What's their win total? Because I assume it's got to be pretty low. Again, this is not going to be a good defense either, Jay.
Yeah, their win total has been in the 6.5 type of range, which I think that, right. Look, the issue with them is they have a really difficult schedule. So that's bad in terms of, accumulating wins, but it's
get blown out
in terms of, producing volume for wide receivers. So right now, the over 6.5 has been back to minus 150. So look, they're probably going to be about a 7-win team, and that's fine for Marvin Harrison Jr. And I think that the bull case for MHJ relies a bit on the fact that it went a little bit under the radar because no one, I think, was watching Cardinals games in the second half of last year. But And it didn't show up a ton statistically, but just I thought that watching Kyler Murray, I thought in the back half of last year, I thought that was the best that he had looked since the first half of 2021. When people forget, like halfway into 2021, the Cardinals were running away with the 1 seed and Kyler Murray was the MVP favorite. Like, he's the number 1 pick in the draft. This guy, I think, still has untapped potential. And I shudder to say the words comeback player of the year, but he's 30-1 for comeback player of the year, which is the same price as Russell Wilson, who played the whole season last year and isn't coming back from anything. Not that that seemingly matters for this award, but I digress. I think there is upside in Kyler, in MHJ. At the same time, though, like, he's going as like wide receiver 9 at the moment. I would probably rather wait 20 picks and get Cooper Kupp or Jalen Waddle. And we're going to talk about Kupp a little bit later. So I don't think there's a lot of meat on the bone at current ADP, but certainly there's upside for him to produce and have that type of, 1,200 yard, 7 touchdown type of season.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotorWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Roto-World fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.